Hello and welcome to today's training. My name is Eleni and I am super excited to be here today to talk about polarity and why feminine women can be highly triggering to more masculinized women. And if you are a woman more in her masculine and desire to move deeper into the feminine polarity, then this video is for you. Now, I want to be very clear here before I begin that I have zero judgment about how anyone lives their life. I have zero judgment about whether you're in the feminine polarity or the masculine polarity, because this is all about taste and what you like. And so what I like and what I enjoy feeling and teaching about and moving deeper into is the feminine polarity, so that in a relationship, two people are polarized as much as they can be within the relationship. And I enjoy this. So this is what I teach about, okay? And so many of you may have noticed that feminine women feel different to masculinized women because they're in a different energy. And feminine women have more of their soul essence come through. And so because they plead and are not so dense, they don't feel so heavy. They feel lighter. And the core reason for this is because they're anchored in their self-worth and also in trust. Now, these are foundations. These are foundations for being and staying in the feminine polarity, feeling safe in your body, trusting yourself, and being anchored in your self-worth. You may see a lot of teachings, you may see a lot of other trainings from other people talking about wear a dress, only speak in this way, only do this, only do that, right? And these things may actually work for a little while for you until they don't, because what's underneath all of that, if you haven't dealt with it, is all of this unconscious programming and low self-worth and blocks that are keeping you from knowing who you deeply are, really trusting in yourself, and really being anchored in your self-worth. And so if you are doing all of these things and not clearing all of this stuff underneath, you will continually come back to your self-worth, to not trusting, to not feeling safe. This is why it can sometimes feel like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Now, I had a client, or I'm currently working with a woman who mentioned to me that she's done all of this stuff, all of this work, and she's sick of it, and she's just going through the same patterns for years. And she wants to be and feel like she's in a devotional energy in herself, in her relationship. And it's like her external world keeps reflecting back to her in her life that it just doesn't work for her. And it's not that it doesn't work for her. It's just that she hadn't yet tapped into her deep unconscious programming and blocks that have been keeping her from being in the feminine polarity, from truly being anchored in loving herself and knowing her self-worth, and thus attracting in a devoted partner or moving deeper into devotional love in her relationship. So if you've been following me for a while, you'll have heard me say that intimacy starts with you. Intimacy is into me you see. And into me you see starts with you, diving deep into yourself, into your psyche, into your shadow, and bringing light to the parts that need to be seen, touched, felt, and also loved. And so a woman that has moved deeply into the feminine polarity and has this soul essence and radiance moving through her, trusts herself. And so she doesn't need to manipulate or to try to get. She doesn't overgive. She doesn't overfunction. She doesn't try to overplease or overperform, because she's cleared out of those parts of herself that says she needs to do that. And so you will notice that a woman that is more in her masculine doesn't feel as open. She may not feel as safe in her body. She may feel like she needs to overgive, overperform, lead, because she doesn't feel safe that she's going to be taken care of. She doesn't trust that she's protected. She doesn't trust in herself. And thus, she doesn't trust in God the Father, God the Lover, God the King. A feminine woman has trust in herself, in life, in God the Father, God the Lover, God the King first. And thus, this then extends to a man. She's able to feel a man differently, trust in a man differently. More of a masculinized woman doesn't, or cannot, or may not, really, not cannot, she may not, because she doesn't have that deep trust and connection to herself. Now, like I mentioned, neither is good or bad, but this takes inner work. This takes inner work. And a more of a masculinized woman also may also be very beautiful on the outside, right? But she doesn't have that light that shines through her from her soul. She feels heavier. She feels more dense, right? It's a different kind of beauty. It's a different essence. And so in a relationship, a feminine woman would trust in desiring to ask a man, for example, permission, or asking his opinion. Now, asking is very permissive and is very open, and thus an answer, when a woman asks a question, she's being open to being penetrated with an answer. So the person penetrating is taking the masculine pole and is in the masculine. And so on the other hand, a masculinized woman may not want to ask for permission. She may not feel like she has to. She may not like the idea of it. And she may just turn around and say, hey, we're going to watch this movie tonight. Okay, let's go. Whereas a feminine woman may ask something like, hey, honey, would you like to go and watch a movie tonight? And he will penetrate, if it's a man or a person taking the masculine pole, with a yes or no. What do you think about going to watch this movie? Or he may just give a direct answer saying, let's go watch the movie that we decided to watch, right? But this is the difference. And when, it's another example. The key to being and staying in the feminine polarity in your relationship is to, when you're expressing, is to express your hurt, yes, and to express your feelings and to how you feel, not going into blame, shame, or judgment. Because men go the other way, or they just switch off. And so if you're feeling a certain way, so say you're in the car and you're feeling like hot, right? You're feeling hot and you're in the feminine polarity, and you just turn around and you just say to your man, gosh, I'm feeling so hot. Your masculine partner will go into his mind, his brain. He will go into his thinking mind to find a solution for you. And so naturally what will happen, because you're expressing how you're feeling, he will go and find a solution and either put the window down or turn the aircon on for you. A woman more in her masculine will say, gosh, it's so hot, turn the aircon on, would you? Or gosh, it's so hot, turn the aircon on. So what she's doing here is she's sharing how she's feeling, but she's also leading and finding the solution. So she's wearing the pants and there's actually no room for her masculine partner to take the lead or to find a solution to her problem, to go into the data in his mind to find a solution for her. Right? And so she's taking the feminine pole as well as the masculine pole, and there's no room for the man, as an example here as well. There are many examples I can give, but this is the one that I'm coming up with in this present moment. So moving deeper into the polarity is about trust. And if on a deep level you don't trust your partner, there is work to do here. These are foundational pieces. And if you're somebody or a woman that goes into blame, shame, or judgment and tries to lead a man into doing what you want him to do, then it's not going to create polarity either. So communication is really, really important here as well. And it takes work. It takes practice. If you're somebody that's been in control, for a lot of time, a lot of the past, a lot of history of being in control and trying to take control, then it's going to take some time for you to unwind. So it's also about you being gracious and kind to yourself as well. I mean, in my first marriage, I didn't know anything about polarity. And, I was like, just very much in my masculine a lot as well. Like I felt like I was pretty and all the things, but inside my essence, like my feminine essence wasn't coming through because I didn't trust. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust the relationship. I didn't trust. And this is all about trust and finding that within you first, because this is something that you can always come back to with self. If there's something coming up in your relationship, you trust yourself enough, you'll feel safe in yourself enough to find the awareness of what's going on, see what's going on, and then bring that to your partner. And then vice versa with you as well, with a man. But the more anchored that you are in love, the more different that your communication is also going to feel as well, right? It's going to change and shift naturally because you love yourself. You trust yourself. You feel safe in your own body. And these are all, like I mentioned, foundational pieces. These are the things that we come back to. Where are you not feeling safe? Where are you not trusting? Where are you not really anchored in your self-worth? I'm going to leave this training here today. Thank you all so much for being here, and I am sending you all a ton of love.